様こんにちは。この度は引き寄せの真実無料オンラインプログラムをご覧いただきありがとうございます。この無料オンラインプログラムでは、情熱の持てる仕事がしたい、圧倒的な結果を出したい、もっとお金を稼ぎたいという方や、目標を立ててもいつも未達成で終わってしまう、引き寄せの法則などをたくさん学んだけれども、なかなか現実にできない。そして上司や部下、家族関係、こうした人間関係にお悩みの方々に、世界的に認められた引き寄せの真実の秘密を使って、今まで実現できなかったレベルの夢や目標を次々と達成して理想の人生を引き寄せる、そんなことができるようになるプログラムです。申し遅れました。本日インタビュアーを務めさせていただきます北原真希と申します。よろしくお願いいたします。本日は世界的な人間行動学のスペシャリストであり、世界各国の政治家や誰もが知る世界的な企業経営者、そしてアスリート、ハリウッドスターをクライアントにお持ちのドクター・ディマティーニをお招きしています。Hello, Dr. Dimatini.
Howdy.
So, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. John DiMartini. I full-time travel around the world researching, writing, and teaching. I've been doing that for 46 years, and I've been blessed to contribute to many books and also many films, and one of which is The Secret, which you may have seen. And I teach various seminars, 76 different types of seminars around the world, some of them in up to 65 countries now. And I've been doing that now for many, many years. And I've been coming to Japan for about the last 8 years. And we've reached quite a few thousands of people here, and with media even more. And I just travel full time. I'm kind of a gentleman that lives in hotels most of the time, but I travel, I research, I write, and I teach. And I've been doing that since 1972, 73. And I had a learning problem as a child, and I guess because of that, I had a desire to overcome that and then share education with people that may have been less fortunate to be able to learn as I had challenges. And today I'm blessed to reach people of all walks of life, from people in governments to companies to education to general populace. And I just love doing it. That's what I do every day.
Thank you. それでは引き寄せの真実について伺っていきたいと思います。So, Dr. Dimatini, could you share us about the truth of the law of attraction, that you prove it by scientific evidence or research?
Well, I believe that every human being lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. And whenever they're pursuing the things that are really, truly most important to them, their brain is awakened and they see opportunities, they make decisions quickly, and they act on those opportunities more effectively and efficiently than if they're pursuing things that aren't really important to them, but they think they should be important to them. So the law of attraction is the synchronicity of what occurs in our life when we're really aware and acutely observant of our environment and take advantage of those observations that are in line with what we want. And then we end up having to take actions and achieve things. So there is a resonance and a synchronicity that occurs in our life, but it's also because the way the brain is set up, we see opportunities, we take advantage of opportunities, and we act on those opportunities. And so if we set goals that are really, really, really aligned and congruent with who we really are, what's really important to us, the law of attraction and the ability to synchronize events in our life goes way up, and our achievement levels go way up. But if we're setting goals that aren't really important to us, but we think they should be, we obviously have less of that effect, and we end up not having the same impact. So it's so important to set goals that are really, truly important to us, to allow our brain to maximize its function, to take advantage of the opportunities that are always around us, but we can't see. But once we're congruent, we can see them, we can decide, and we can act.
We actually, I see a lot of books at the bookstores telling us about the law of attraction, but it's about praying or affirmation stuff, but it's very different from what you told me.
Well, there are impacts from what we say what we see, what we think, and how we feel. No question about it. Those have an impact on how we interact with people. But the bottom line is we will sometimes not even see the opportunities in front of us if we're setting goals and set them when they're not really aligned with what we want. I have people that go out and they tell me that, why am I not having $1 million showing up in my mailbox?
Yeah, I understand it.
and I said, well, if you really truly have a desire to have $1 million, you'll also have a desire to serve people. So you have a source of income. And many people set up fantasies that they're striving for instead of real objectives. And when you set real objectives that are balanced, that are really aligned to what you really value, you activate the law of attraction. Because now you see the opportunities and the people, places, things, ideas, and events synchronize in your life and you take advantage of them. So set real goals in real time with real objectives that are really important to you, and the law of attraction becomes your best friend, you might say.
It's very interesting that we always talk about dreams and goals, but it's like sometimes we talk about a fantasy, you said that. And so I understand. So now I understand that you helped a lot of people, and the clients are owners of business and also are famous athlete and Hollywood stars. That's the reason. How many people have you reached over past 56 years, you said?
46 years now.
Yeah, 46, sorry.
Well, I'm a kind of guy that likes to keep records of what I do. So every time I speak, I write down the people that in the audience, the number. Every time I do radio, television, newspapers, magazines, movies, videos, podcasts, webinars, everything, we keep records of them. Because if you really, really have a desire to fulfill a goal, you'll want to metric the progress and be able to refine your actions to achieve it. And so with radio and television, newspapers, magazines, podcasts, webinars, etc., we've reached over 5 billion people.
Wow.
But if we look at just live presentations in front of the audience, it's probably 5 million people.
5 million. Wow.
But if we look at all of the different programs and all the media, we sometimes reach 99 million, 250 million, 20 million in one 30-minute period or an hour period or 10-minute period, depending on the show. So, but that's little effect compared to a live presentation or a one-on-one consultation.
Okay, Dr. DiMartini, I understand that the important point here is to determine what we really want to do or we love to do. So what's important in our lives, and also our goals and dreams should be linked to that maybe value you said?
Yes. As I mentioned a few moments ago, every human being has a set of priorities, set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. And the thing that's highest on our values is intrinsic. We are spontaneously inspired to act on it. Like a boy who loves video games, he doesn't need to be motivated or reminded to do it. But something that's low on the value list, for the boy maybe doing homework or chores or cleaning his room, he has to be motivated. If a person has to be motivated from the outside to get things done, they won't stay focused. They won't stay disciplined. They won't be reliable. But if somebody does something that's truly highest on their value, the thing that is truly congruent with what they value and what's most important in their life, they spontaneously get up and do it. And this is the area where they'll excel. This is the area where they achieve. And this is the area when a person sets a goal that's aligned with that, the forebrain, the most advanced part of the brain, comes alive and gives us the greatest advantage to help us achieve the greatest potential. So the first step in great achievement is to pursue the true objectives that align with what we value most, and not to waste our time on things that are not really important to us, because we devalue ourselves every time we do that. Once we identify what's truly highest on our values and really identify what it is, it's wise to set goals that only match that. Or if you're having goals that you want to accomplish, to at least link the goal to how it's going to help you fulfill that highest value. Nobody goes to work for the sake of a company. They go to work to fulfill their values, their highest values. If they can see how their job duty is helping them fulfill that, they'll go to work and be engaged. And you can be engaged in life if you can see how the actions and daily responsibilities you have are helping you fulfill your highest value. So the highest value is crucial. And if you don't fill your day with the highest priorities, the highest values on a daily basis, your day fills up with low priority distractions, which devalue you and in a sense cause entropy and breakdown. So it's so important to know what your highest values are, to set goals that are congruent with it, to take every action you do and link it to it, and to fill your day with the highest priority things to grow your self-worth, to expand your potential, and to do something extraordinary on planet Earth.
Wow. Now I really want to know what my highest value is. It's very interesting. So the audience and I am very eager to know the details about it. So you said that we all have hierarchy of values, right? And what exactly can we make use of it? I mean, knowing what the highest value is.
How do we achieve and determine what the
Yeah.
highest value is? Well, for many years, over 40 years, I've been exploring this field of values. And if you ask somebody on the street what their values are, they will go blank.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they'll go honesty, truth, integrity, peace. They'll give you social idealisms. They'll give what their mother, their father, their preacher, their teacher, their culture, their tradition or convention says to say. But I'm not interested in that because that may not always be the case for their life. I'm interested in what their life demonstrates. What their life demonstrates, that's what matters. So I look at how they fill their space, because things that are important to them, they keep around them, and things that are not, they get rid of. I look at how they spend their time. They make time, find time, spend time on things that are really valuable to them. I look at what energizes them. When they're doing something high in their value, their energy goes up. When they're doing something low in the values, their energy goes down. I look at where they spend their money. They find money, make money, spend money, take time to get money for things that are valuable to them, and they run out of time for money or money when it's not important. I look at where they're most organized. Whatever is high in your value, you bring order to and organization to. Whatever is low in your value is chaos. I look at where you're most disciplined and reliable. Whatever is highest on your value, you get around to doing. When the why is big enough, the hows take care of themselves and you make it happen. I look at what you think about, what you visualize, what you internally talk to yourself about most, about how you want your life to be. This shows evidence coming true. If there's no evidence, you don't want to write that. If it's not something you want come true, don't write that. This is not negative self-talk, negative self-thought. This is the thing that you think about, visualize, affirm, talk to yourself about most that's actually coming true. Then I look at what you converse with other people about most, because you typically want to converse and talk to them about what's important to you. How's your golf game? How's your business? How's your school? Then I look at what inspires you and what's common to the people who inspire you. What brings a tear of inspiration to your eyes and chills in your spine that makes you really inspired about something? I look at that. I look at what are the 3 most consistent, persistent goals you've had that are showing evidence to come true. It's about the evidence, not about the fantasies. It's about the evidence. And then I look at what is the thing you love studying about, reading about, learning about, and listening to about most. What do you go in the bookstore? What section do you go? What do you watch on YouTube's? That tells you what you value. If I answer 3 answers to all those 13 questions and I get 39 answers, some of those answers repeat themselves over and over again. And the ones that repeat themselves most frequent is the highest value. Second most frequent, second highest value. And once I determine what the values are by what their life demonstrates, not by their fantasies or what they wish they would be, but what their life demonstrates today, I can then begin to orchestrate and structure and help them put a life together that they will be spontaneously inspired to fulfill. And they will grow their self-worth, they'll expand their horizons, they'll do something more amazing, they'll take advantage of their forebrain instead of living in mediocrity. So finding out what those values are is a crucial component. That's why I take the time to help people do that. And most of the programs I do, and even on my online program, because I know that's a starting point for great achievement.
What you told me is very interesting because usually when people think about setting goals, we pursue something outside. So, I mean, we never look at what we are doing today or what we think right now or something like that. So it's very something new for me to learn about. So our life really demonstrates what our highest values are.
Well, what's interesting is that When I've interviewed people that are very high achievers and people that are banging their head against the wall and frustrating themselves, you can see a very high degree of congruency between what they're pursuing and what's really highest on their value. And over here, they're going after fantasies, they're going after things they think it should be, and they're living, conforming to society instead of actually standing out in society. The people that are living by their highest values and are congruent are the ones that make a contribution and innovation to the world, and they stand out. The ones that are sitting there subordinating and living deontologically, trying to live in the values of other people all the time, trying to fit in and afraid of being rejected, they're the ones kind of going against the grain, and they got a brake on and a gas pedal on, and they don't achieve as much. So it's so crucial to give yourself permission to live authentically, according to what's really valuable to you, and do it in such a way that serves ever greater numbers of people. Because the fulfillment of serving great numbers of people, doing what you love, makes you can't wait to get up in the morning and be of service, and people can't wait to get the service, and it's a very rewarding life.
Oh, that's a key point, that people do not have to get motivated by others, right?
Yeah, I don't need motivation. Things that are low on my values, like cooking and driving, I might need motivation for. But researching, writing, traveling, and teaching, I've been doing this 46 years. Nobody has ever had to motivate me in those areas. So finding the area where you don't require motivation and structuring it in a way and living according to priority, according to highest values, and doing it in such a way that helps in a fair service and exchange with other people to earn an income. So you get to do what you love and get paid for it. Your vocation and vacation are the same. This is a mastered life. This is a life you can't wait to get up in the morning and be.
So I have a question that, so we understand that we have a hierarchy of values, so we all have highest value, but is it, for example, Dr. DiMartini and I have the same highest value or set of values?
Well, the way the world is, there's a full spectrum from one extreme to the other of values. And you'll have people, just like in language, you have synonyms and antonyms. You have people that have similar values and people quite different. And the world needs all of them. You need people dedicated to family and raising children. You need dedication to social and political. You need people dedicated to fitness and health, people dedicated to business, finance, social cause, intellectual pursuits, spiritual pursuits. Everybody's needed. There's no right or wrong values ultimately. But there's somebody out there with a complete similar, not exactly yours, but similar, and there's others that are quite opposite. And very commonly, when you get married, you sometimes find that person that's opposite. So you can get to and banter with each other and grow from each other, because you grow that way. If you had two people who are exactly the same, one's not necessary. They all have something unique. It's like a fingerprint or a retinal pattern. The values that we have, my values are never exactly the same as somebody else. There's a tweak, there's a difference. Even if we say business is at the top, what we do in business is different. And so if we really get down to the very essence of the values, they're slightly different or quite different from somebody else. And the world needs all the above. So there's no right or wrong, really ultimate values. Many people think, well, my values are right and others are wrong. But the reality is that everybody's needed. That's what the world needs. The whole spectrum of values across the world.
Interesting. When I speak with my friends, that we always say like, we are similar, we are friends, we are the same. But actually, we are all unique. We have unique hierarchy of values.
Yeah, if you woke up, there was a TV show in America many years ago called Twilight Zone. And there was a guy that got up in the morning and he said, I wish everybody was just like me. Because he had a really stressful day. And he said, I want everybody to be just like me. And the next morning, everybody was him. At the end of the day, he said, I wish everybody could be back the way they were, because I don't want everybody to be like me. It would be really torturous if we had everybody just you in the world. You kept running into you everywhere you went, no matter who you were dealing with. The world needs a complete spectrum. And so that's what teaches us to grow. That's what gives us innovation. That's what keeps us learning and expanding. So yeah, each person has a unique fingerprint-specific value structure or value hierarchy. And learning how to articulate and communicate what we value as an individual with other people is the mastery of communication, the mastery of life.
So now I understand that we have unique highest value hierarchy of values, and there must be many clients who succeeded in fulfilling their lives and become a master of their lives. So we'd like to hear some actual cases of your clients. So could you share a story of your client who succeeded in, let's say, building wealth?
There's many people that, I mean, won't say a name because without their permission, I can't do that. But I have a gentleman who's in London who is a movie producer that wasn't a movie producer when I met him. He had a dream about producing movies. And we looked at his values and we looked at what his life demonstrates. And he spontaneously is watching videos, he's producing videos, he's doing this, but he wants to produce a real movie. And we basically structured his life according to priority and looked at what was producing the most according to his values and literally organized his life differently according to his values. He started building momentum. Over the next 2 to 3 years, he produced his first movie. And at first he thought someday it would happen, but he realized in 2 to 3 years he was actually producing a movie. I was at the premiere of that movie. And when the process of when he launched that movie, he ended up doing something that actually produced more income than he's ever done in his life. Because he can't wait to get up in the morning and be of service. And he can't wait to get up and do that. And his energy levels went up, his achievements went up. The people, because of his enthusiasm, when you're doing something congruent, you're enthusiastic, more people came to his life to help him. His sales went up, his opportunities went up. He then got an opportunity to work in a Star Wars situation, working with bigger producers. And launched his career, and he's now in a completely different position than what he was if he had started and banged his head against the wall doing something that wasn't important. So the hierarchy of his values he got clear on. He started pursuing it. He prioritized his daily system, his actions. He delegated lower priority things, and he went out there, and he's now a movie producer.
Wow.
And literally about a total of 4.5 years, he's now at almost a 5-year mark. He's done amazing things. And most people don't realize that by prioritizing your life and letting go of lower priority things, your self-worth goes up. He's a good example of it. I've seen individuals that, one in Australia that was sitting there making $40,000 a month. That's all he could do. And he hit this plateau, and for 3 years, $40,000. That's the most he could ever get. And all of a sudden he realized that he was subordinating to his father. And his father said, anybody that makes a certain amount of money is a crook. And he had a belief system that he was doing it. So we did what I call the DeMartini method, in addition to the value linking, and we cleared out the subordination to his father's belief systems, which limited his belief. We linked how doing the action steps to build wealth can increase his power to serve more people. And literally in 2 months, it went to 200,000. 2 months, 200,000. And he liberated himself because he got this limited beliefs out of his mind. He took out his subordination to outer authority that was telling him he shouldn't become wealthy. And he linked his action steps to building wealth. And he saw opportunities that he's never seen before and acted on them. So when you organize your values and become congruent and raise the values of whatever's really important to you and raise your action steps every day, most people compare their daily actions to other people and judge people instead of compare their daily actions to their own highest values. That's where you excel in economics or in business. I've seen it in almost every area of life. We can empower any area of our life if we live congruently and make links to those highest values.
Wow. But I'm interested in the relationship between that guy and the father.
Well, they were not communicating prior to that. Even though he was having him on a pedestal, his moral belief was there. His father never got to a certain point economically. When he cleared the charge on having him on a pedestal and leveled the playing field, they're now interacting differently. They're a loving dynamic, but not on a pedestal. Because he was resenting his father and infatuating with his father for different things, and it was blocking him. The moment he actually liberated that with the method, and then all of a sudden linked his action steps to his highest values, he took off.
Wow.
He's in a totally different game today. And I've seen that. And I've seen people that, I've shown people thousands of people actually, how to raise the value of wealth building. Because the average person, you ask them, would you like to be financially independent? They put their hands up and they go, yeah, I would like to do it. But when you actually look at their actions, they keep buying things that are consumables that depreciate and go down in value, and they're not buying assets that grow. And as long as they don't have a value on long-term asset accumulation, and they just keep wanting immediate gratification and buying consumables and living through other people's brands and minimizing themselves, they're not going to get ahead financially. So what I do is I show them how to shift the actual action steps on their list of values up that actually build wealth, and actually take the things that were once higher on their values and lower them and reshift the value structure. And all of a sudden, when they do, they start to now see opportunities, take advantage of opportunities, and build wealth opportunities.
Wow.
And there's hundreds of thousands of people that have done that.
Wow.
Yeah. So the values have a major impact, because the hierarchy of your values dictates your destiny and your financial destiny. And I say that money circulates through the economy from those who value it least to those who value it most. If you don't value it, it's not going to be there. If you don't value serving people, you don't value yourself, and you don't value wealth building, it's not going to happen. And valuing serving people means you care about humanity enough to go out and meet the needs of what people really need. Valuing yourself says that I deserve to have and pay and save a portion of that. And then I deserve to actually accumulate the wealth. So I'm not a slave to money, I'm its master. And I'm having money work for me instead of me working for money all your life.
Wow. So what about let's say people always, not always, but we often have hardships with family relationship or partnership. So is there any story of your client who succeeded in overcoming hardships in family relationship or building relationship?
Yes. The most common thing that I've seen in the Breakthrough Experience program that I do is people having affairs. This is the most common one.
Really?
I see this every weekend. I mean, I do the Breakthrough Experience 43 times a year, and I see it every single weekend. There's somebody that's had an affair. People are blaming somebody cheated on me, somebody had an affair, or whatever like this. And I reframe that, because people are not committed. As much as we like to fantasize and religious and state views, the reality is that a human being is committed to the fulfillment of their highest values. They're not committed to the other person. They think they are while they're infatuated. They think they are in front of the church or the state or whatever. But the reality is that they're a human being trying to fulfill what their highest value is. And whenever I hear somebody saying, well, my spouse or my girlfriend or my husband or had an affair on me, I go, well, so obviously anything you're not willing to do with your mate, you got to be willing to delegate. And somehow they're not getting some values met. The question you want to ask is, what values are they not getting met, and how can we start to meet those values? Because if you're not willing to and not able to, somebody else is going to. And I explain to them, because they're not committed to you, they're committed to what their values are.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hear that. They want to hear the storybook. And I'd say that the fantasies that we hold on to interfere with the realities. And many people, many men and women, are having fantasies about how their mate's supposed to be. And they're having an affair with a fantasy figure, and then the person doesn't feel love for who they are. And in the process of doing it, they're looking for somebody to love them for who they are. Everybody wants to be loved and appreciated for who they are, which is their highest values. If they don't feel that that's happening in a relationship, they're going to go somewhere else. And so I always say it's a dynamic tango. It's not that person did it to me. It's you're both in a dynamic of not learning how to communicate the values. So the stories that I have, when a person finds out and asks, what's really highest on my spouse's values or boyfriend or girlfriend's values? How is it helping me fulfill what's highest on mine? And how is what's highest on mine helping them? If you can answer that question, you'll take alternating monologue communication to a dialogue. You'll start to appreciate them. You won't try to fix them. A lot of relationships are trying to fix the person instead of love the person. And that's when they go out looking for somebody to love them. But if you love them for who they are, they turn into who you love. So the values is tremendous application. Now, there's not one case. There's hundreds of cases of people during the Breakthrough Experience where we show them how to not only do the DeMartini method on each other to clear the baggage, but also link values to each other. And that's one of the most important things. Anytime you have a conflict resolution, anytime you have a distancing in a relationship, it's because they're not seeing what that person's values is serving your values, and vice versa. By asking those questions, how specifically is each other's values helping each other, you open up a dialogue and communication, and you enhance and sometimes save and salvage relationships. There have been hundreds of relationships that were on the blink, sitting on two opposite sides of the seminar room, not even talking to each other. When they get through, they got their arms around each other because they realized they haven't been communicating together in each other's values.
Wow. So you mentioned about the relationship, existing relationship. So what about this one? Personally, I'm interested in how to get an ideal partner or husband. Do you have such kind of case or story?
Yeah. You're probably looking for a husband until you get one. But what's interesting is I was riding on a train from Osaka back to Tokyo, probably a few years ago. And there was a lovely lady that was sitting next to me. And she asked me a similar question, Dr. DeMartini, I would really like to not just keep dating, I'd like to find a man that I can start a life with, start a family with, my soulmate. And she said, what advice could you give me? And I asked her to do this, and I've done this on many numerous occasions. In fact, I just did this the other day on the way to come here. I asked this woman to write down everything that you're looking for in a mate, a long list of everything you're looking for in a mate. Every trait, action, or inaction, or behavior that you would admire, that you would love to have as a mate, and make a list. That could be 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 or more things. Then write the exact opposite, because if you get somebody that's kind and generous, you also get somebody that's at times cruel and stingy. You never get a one-sided mate, because there's no such thing as a one-sided person. If I go up to people and say, you're always kind, you're never cruel, you're always nice, you're never mean, it's not true. Or if you're always mean, you're never kind, you're always stingy, you're never generous, that's not true. But you can see that there's going to be somebody that's going to have both. That's real, that's obtainable. So first write down everything you're looking for and the opposite of that. Once you make that list, then go scan through your life and find out who in your life is demonstrating and living that in your life right now.
Right now.
Already in your life. And you will be surprised. I mean, I've done this thousands of times. So if you do this and you look carefully, you will find out that everything you're looking for is in your life already. But it's diversified in a variety of friends, colleagues, family members, different people. Once you realize that none of that's missing, the idea of being desperate, of having to find somebody, calms. Because you realize, I actually have everything I'm looking for. It's diversified in a variety of people instead of one. And the reason it's diversified is because prior to now, there has been relationships that you've been in, or this person's been in, that has been painful, and they've had wounds, and they associate painful situations with being with one. And so they are literally unconsciously avoiding being in that situation again and diversifying the things that they want into a variety of people so they don't feel trapped, they don't feel boxed in, they don't feel like they have to conflict with people. So then I go back after we've identified that and realize that nothing's missing. I then go through and I do the DeMartini method and clear the emotional baggage that's associated with that previous wound. And that's where I ask him how specifically is whatever that experience was, it was painful, that you would want to avoid, all of a sudden, how is it helping you get what you want in life? And dissolve that. The moment they dissolve the wounds and they're no longer avoiding it on an unconscious level, then they open up to having a relationship again. The many return to the one. But our mind will automatically diversify from one to many when you're actually been wounded by the one, and it'll go from the many to the one when we open back that door. And I saw a lady that was, I worked this with, and she was in one relationship where he was really a handsome guy, but he was a player, and he was always looking and talking to other girls. Then she found another guy, and that was painful. Then she had another guy who was really wealthy, but he wanted to control her and didn't want her to work, and she lost her career path. Then she had another one that was very intelligent, but he always argued and he always wanted to be right. So each of those things that she was looking for was so painful that she was unconsciously avoiding men like that, but having friends that were varieties that she could always go home and not have to deal with them. So nothing's missing. It's in a form that your values are really striving for. Making you aware of that and clearing the wounds allows you to then return it back into the one. But when we have the one, we always wonder about the many. And when we got the many, we're always wondering about the one. Nature has a combination. A healthy dynamic is having one close, intimate partner and a variety of friends that provide different components of the relationship. That's a healthy dynamic. But first, you got to clear the wounds of the one, the few you've had, if you want to open up the door back to the one.
Wow. Without motivation, I'll do it. Immediately.
I've had probably in the last 2 years, probably 7 women that found people usually within 3 weeks, once we did that exercise.
Thank you for interesting stories. I'm very impressed. And but still, today in Japan, I see a lot of people having issues that we they set a goal, let's say short term or long term, but they give up in the middle of the journey. And also, actually, we see a lot of books telling us about the law of attractions, and we buy books and learn it. But actually, people cannot, make a dream come true. So,
What do we do?
yeah.
The very reason why I put together my work on values is because of that. And it's not just in Japan, it's around the world. People pursue fantasies. They pursue immediate gratification. They pursue what they think is important, but what their life doesn't really demonstrate is important. If I ask people if they want to be financially independent, everybody puts their hands up. But when I look at how they spend their money, they really don't want to be financially independent. They want to really buy things quick. And they want immediate gratification. So I looked at that and I go, why is it that people have such a discrepancy between what they say they want and what they actually live? And it all boils down to values. The very law of attraction is value-based. I'm certain about that. So if you set a goal that is not highest on your values, you're going to procrastinate, hesitate, frustrate. You're going to burn out or you're going to get bored and you're not going to be able to sustain it. And because anytime you're pursuing something that's high in your values, you're less fulfilled. And when you're unfulfilled, you look for immediate gratification to compensate. Impulsive, compulsive, immediate gratifying, even addictive behaviors are byproducts of unfulfilled highest values. So when somebody sets a goal, they're really setting a response to something. They look at somebody else and they go, oh, I wish I had what they had. I envy them. I'm trying to imitate them. And they're trying to be somebody they're not. But the magnificence of who they are, according to the highest value, is more powerful than any fantasies they'll inject and try to empower themselves with. So setting goals that are really truly aligned with what you value, that your life demonstrates you spontaneously do, that you don't need to be reminded or motivated to do. If you need to be motivated or reminded to do what you say is important, what you say is important isn't important. Finding out what that is where you are automatically going to have a greater space and time horizon, more patience. You'll endure pain and pleasure in the pursuit of it. You won't stop. You can't wait to get up in the morning and do it. You'll come up with creative answers, solutions. Even if you have setbacks and challenges, you'll use this as feedbacks and opportunities, and you won't stop. So if a person's stopping on a goal that they say is important, it's not really important because they wouldn't stop. If they're giving up on it, it's because it's not driving them enough. There's other things that are more important to them they keep going to. That's why it's so important to know what your real values, your highest values are, and knowing the values factors, I call it. Because if you don't know what that is, you'll easily be swayed by other people. Any area of your life you don't empower, somebody's going to overpower. If you don't empower yourself intellectually, you'll be told what to think. If you don't empower yourself in business, you'll be told what to do. If you don't empower yourself in finance, you'll be told what you're worth. If you don't empower yourself in relations, you'll be told what to do, and you'll be sitting there living in kind of a trap. If you don't empower yourself socially, you'll be told the propaganda to live. If you don't empower yourself physically, you'll be told what organs to remove and what drugs to take. If you don't empower yourself spiritually, you're told what dogma to follow. But if you empower yourself by living congruently, by according to your own values, you'll set sail as captain of your ship, master of your fate, and decide, and you won't give up on it. But you're destined to give up. Anytime you're doing something that's not really important to you, you're designed to give up to get you back onto what is important. So a lot of times the people that are giving up is because they're subordinating to somebody else, injecting expectations and values of others, trying to be somebody they're not, only to find out that that's not where it's at, to try to get them back. So when you're having self-depreciating thoughts, doubts, insecurities, frustrations, they're feedback to let you know that what you're pursuing is not yet linked to your highest values or at your highest values. Once you refine that and actually make sure it's clear, your vitality, your energy, your drive, your persistence goes up, the expansion of your belief, your patience, everything goes up. That's why the values factor is so crucial. That's why I do every seminar I do, I mention it and revolve around it because it is the cornerstone that people are overlooking when it comes to great achievement.
In Japan, there are so many people exhausted by their overwork or maybe stress in a workplace. But according to your story, it sounds like that your method can be a solution that they once they link their highest value to their goals, it's going to be...
When I meet people who are congruent and they set goals and structure their life around their highest values, they can work 18, 20 hours a day. They don't have a lack of energy. My day consists of 7 days a week. I'm cranking.
So
I don't have a lack of energy doing what I love doing. But if you're banging your head against the wall, trying to be somebody you're not, trying to compare yourself to others, judging all the time, beating yourself up because you're supposed to be living in some fantasy, you're going to be drained. Draining is a feedback to let you know you're not congruent. Draining is a feedback to let you know you're not prioritized. But the second you get prioritized again, you're up. I have a friend who runs Drake International. It's one of the biggest companies in the world, for that matter. He's 80-something years old. He's almost 90. That guy puts in 16 to 18-hour days without a problem, 6, 7 days a week. You can't overwork when you're doing something you love to do. But the second you're doing something you don't really want to do and you fight on, you got a break on, you can have cardiovascular problems, cytokine, inflammatory responses, distress instead of eustress. Eustress is wellness promoting and distress is illness promoting. And the second you live by highest values, you grow your self-worth, you grow your net worth, you end up with new opportunities, you have vitality, there's no lack of energy, you're inspired to go to work and do things, or whatever it may be, maybe raising a family. I've met women. I had a woman the other day that I worked with in Africa that has 17 children. She raised 17 children. She was a politician. She worked with 7 presidents. She's got intense energy. She goes all day long because she's congruent. She loves what she does. And that's what I'm attempting to get people to do. And all my programs, all my seminars, all my books, everything that I do is to get them there. If you require motivation to get up and go in the morning, you have not found your mission. And your mission's an expression of your highest value. Find that, and you won't need motivation in your life. I don't need motivation to do what I love doing.
Yeah.
There's no lack of energy once you're really on fire with what your highest priority is. Your vitality in life is directly proportional to the vividness of your vision, which is based on the congruency of your actions.
Okay, so this online program is about the truth of the law of attraction. So when we speak about the law of attraction, it reminds me of kind of spiritual method or something like that. But your method sounds like more scientific.
Well, it is a scientific. I have a background in physics and neurology, and I use the sciences. But at the same time, when a person sets a goal that is congruent, they are inspired. It is a spiritual mission for them. It's a calling. It's a métier. It's the chief aim. It's the primary objective in their life. It's the thing they can't wait to get up and do. So it is an inspiration. It is a spiritual path for them. And many cultures and religious traditions and spiritual traditions have tried to get people to live that way. But it's also scientifically verifiable and scientifically reproducible. So true science and true religion don't have to fight. They can be congruent with each other and actually assist each other and do great things. So the true law of attraction, everybody has access to. But what happens is they want the fantasy many times. They want the quick fix fantasy. I just visualize $1 million and have it. But the reality is, if you go out and find out what you really love to do, and you can't wait to go out and deliver the service, and you do it in a way that it helps people fulfill their highest values, you will be rewarded economically. You'll have fair exchange that's sustainable. You'll end up building momentum economically as well as career-wise. You'll have an expansion of the people you serve, so your social power network. You'll be more magnetic and empower all areas of your life. The law of attraction's real when you actually set real goals that are really congruent, that are truly inspiring, that your heart and your brain is dedicated to.
Thank you. So there are so many people who go to seminars and learn how to set a goal, but they really cannot make it. But according to your teaching, it's very important to be aware and find what the highest value is. And also it should be our goals and maybe dreams should be congruent to that highest value.
Yes. Your innermost dominant thought becomes your outermost tangible reality. And your innermost dominant thought is an expression of what you value most, your highest value. If you set a goal that's aligned with the highest values, you're most objective, you're most balanced in your orientation. I'll use an analogy of a young boy who loves video games. The second he conquers a video game, he wants to go to a more advanced game. He wants to pursue a challenging game. So when somebody's doing something they really love to do, they look forward to pursuing challenges that inspire them. And when they're doing something that they don't want to do, like doing his homework, he wants to avoid challenges. And so he wants the easy path. He wants a pleasure without a pain, an ease without a difficulty, a positive without a negative. But when you're doing something that's really important to your life, really highest in value, you embrace positives and negatives, pleasures and pains, ease and difficulties, support and challenge equally. You're objective, not subjectively biased. So when people set what they think is a goal, but that's actually one-sided fantasy, I want support without challenge, I want peace without war, I want kind without cruel, I want one-sided things. The brain is set up to pursue a balanced orientation. That's what the executive center in the brain is designed for, strategic planning to mitigate the risks, to see both sides, to prepare for both sides. But when you're pursuing fantasies, your brain automatically has doubts, insecurities, self-talk, negative self-talk, wondrances, anxieties. Automatically, those are there to let you know that what you're pursuing is one-sided and not balanced. So the second you're pursuing something that you're willing to embrace pain and pleasure in, that's when you know you really have a goal. If you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there, that's a sign. But if you're setting a little temporary fantasy, I want a lot of money, but I don't want to do all the work, I don't want to go through all the challenges of saving and patience, then what happens is you have a fantasy. And fantasies are designed to create the nightmares that interfere with that to guide you back to real goals that are really congruent with high values. So I take people in the breakthrough experience and one-on-one consulting in business leaders who are setting up fantasies, and then they keep wondering why they're banging their head against the wall, beating themselves up and running into snags. Because the purpose of the executive center is to transform the fantasies of our subcortical amygdala into real goals that are real objectives, that are really obtainable, that are really congruent with what our values are, highest values, so we can actually persevere patiently and pursue them until we achieve them.
But still, people can be skeptical that such your clients should, let's say, your clients are genius, intelligent. Let's say they are special, talented people. That's why they succeeded in building relationship or wealth.
Well, I had a young boy who was 14 years old, who had 9 brothers and sisters. He was the oldest in his family, as both of his parents died of AIDS. And he was the one oldest in the family at 14 years old, having to raise a family of 9 kids. And he ended up coming to a program that I did in the evening. And he decided to change his life. Now, this is not a highly educated, this is not a very ingenious, rich kid. This is a kid that lived in a township in South Africa that decided to change his life. Because it has nothing to do with where you come from, what you've been through, what you're going through. What matters is, are you willing to follow the principles that get you a result? He changed his life by changing his actions. And he listened and he paid attention. It wasn't because he was already a super genius or whatever. It was because he was receptive to learn. And he was willing to apply the principles that will stand the test of time. And a person, no matter where they come from in life, can go wherever they want to go in life if they follow the principles that will get them there. But if you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going, you don't know how you're going to get there, and you're following fantasies, you'll bang your head against the wall and think the world's against you, and you'll be victim of history, never master of destiny. But the second you set goals that are really congruent, that are really aligned, that you embrace pain and pleasure in the pursuit of, that you're inspired to get up and do, that you're willing to go through any obstacle to get it, there's nothing stopping you. So it really doesn't matter where you start. It matters is, are you going to apply the principles? And I don't know of anybody that can't learn that principle. I've seen them at all ages. I've seen kids from 6 years old learn it. I've seen it all the way to 72-year-olds doing it, to even 84-year-olds and 94-year-olds getting off and setting goals and still achieving them before they die.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. DiMartini.
Thank you.
今日はものすごいメソッドの話をしていただきました。次回はその秘密に実際に迫っていこうと思っています。今回の動画では引き寄せの真実、私たちが考えている引き寄せの法則というものはただアファメーションとか願っているだけではないということが今回の動画で明らかになりました。この動画をご覧の皆さんの中には今までたくさんのセミナーに行かれたり、いろんなノウハウをたくさん学んでこられた方もいらっしゃるかもしれません。でもなんとなく結果が出てない、そんなことをお思いの方もたくさんいるのではないでしょうか。 今日ドクター・ディマティーニに伺ったお話の中で皆さん覚えてらっしゃいますでしょうか。一番大事だったのは価値観です。私たちが一番人生において大切にしていること、これは一人一人違うというふうにドクター・ディマティーニおっしゃっていました。そしてその価値観、一番私たちが重要だと思っているその価値観を私たちの夢、そして目標とリンクさせること、一致させることがその願望、目標達成する大きな鍵ということでしたので、実はうまくいっていない方はもしかするとこの価値観というものを置き去りにして、ただ願望とか夢のことについて今までセミナーとかいろんな手法を試していらしたんではないでしょうか。この価値観をどのように特定するのか、非常に重要な鍵になっています。では次回の動画ではこの価値観、皆さんユニークな価値観をお持ちなんですね。この価値観をどのように見つけるのか、その具体的な手法について探っていきたいと思います。そして皆さんが引き寄せたい現実、引き寄せたい願望、引き寄せたい夢、目標なんかありますよね。こことその見つけた価値観、どんな風に作用させていったらいいのか、その具体的なやり方について次回の動画ではお話ししていただこうと思っております。それでは皆さん、第1話をご覧いただきありがとうございました。第2話もぜひ楽しみにしておいてください。Thank you, Dr. Dimatini, for joining today.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview.